How good are the Troy Trojans? It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. A little bit of a happy camper today. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. The college football championship is here, and FanDuel is the best place to get in on all of the action. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football championship profit boosts every game day. So a little bit of a big ball game tonight, Indiana and Miami down in South Florida. All right, we'll talk Raging Cajuns surprising South Alabama, and all of a sudden Georgia State is on a little bit of a roll. But how good are these Troy Trojans? Because I think Arkansas State is very good. And I'm not sure this was much of a basketball game, as it turns out. Final score is 99-74. And the biggest run Troy had was 11-0 run, and it was already a double-digit lead at that point in time. Troy led this ball game 44-35 at half and really dominated the second part of the second half. Again, that run was at 73-61, I believe. now I got to go see it. But they really took control when they were up 11 or maybe 9. Got to 9. 65-56. All right. 65-56. That's a 9-point game with 11:42 left to go. And they finished up on a 34-18. Did I get that right? 34-18 run. Wow. That's enormous. This Troy team is very, very good. All right. And again, I'm not trying to run them out of Troy, Alabama. But somewhere along the way, Scott Cross is going to get a little action. And maybe I should run him up to Central New York because they need all the help that they can get. But they're going to start seeing how good this coach, Scott Cross, really is. All right. As far as the game goes, sort of the usual suspects, Thomas Dowd, 24 points. With 10 rebounds. But Vic Valdi's 17 points. He had 14 assists for a little double-double. I thought it's a triple-double, but only double-double that I'm looking at. And the Campbell brothers, Kobe Campbell had 11 points, and Cooper Campbell had 13. Off the bench, Jarrell Bellamy, he had 22. Usually it's the Arkansas State bench that does really well. They never really got going offensively because usually these guys score more than this. Caldwell had 17 for Arkansas State. Hampton had 15. Harmon had 14, and Heyman had 10. And maybe Caldwell came off the bench. All right. So Caldwell led the team with 17 points off the bench. That tells you what kind of night it was for Arkansas State on Saturday. But this Troy team, and this is unfortunately the Sun Belt, and there's not a whole lot you can do it. They played San Diego State. They played USC. But right now, they are ranking in the net rankings at 107. They were. Where'd they go? Oh, 103. I'm sorry. They are 103. Troy is 1-1 against the quad 1. Keep these numbers in mind. 1-1 against the quad 1. 1-0 against quad 2. 4-4 against quad 3. And 5-1 against quad 4 teams. All right. So now I happen to pick up LSU because I saw them around the 50 spot. They're 48. All right. They're 1-4 against quad 1 teams. 1-4. 1-0 against quad 2 teams. 3-1. Got a better record at 3-1 against quad 3 teams. 8-0 against quad 4 teams. All right. But then you want to go up to where that bubble is, right at the 30 mark. Auburn is supposed to be good, but they're 2-6 against quad 1 teams, 1-1 against quad 2, 2-0 against quad 3, 6-0 against quad 4. So they are 3-7 against quad 1 and going again and quad 2 teams, and they're 36th. I mean, because they play them, they get credit for playing them. They don't get a whole lot of credit for losing to them, but they get a whole lot of credit for playing them. All right. NC State is 12-6. They're 0-5 against quad 1 teams. 0-5. Otherwise, their record's pretty good. 4-0 quad 2, 4-1 quad 3, 4-0 quad 4. But 0-5 against quad 1 teams. So all of these Power 4 teams play each other, but you don't win. You still are ranked pretty high. All right. In fact, all those teams seem to have more quad 4 games than Troy does. Troy's got 6 games in quad 4. What did LSU have? They got 8. They are 8-0. We'll give them that. All right. NC State 4-0. Auburn 6-0. Well, it's the same thing. All right. But the Sun Belt just can't. It doesn't work out. You want to put Troy and LSU on a neutral court? All right. I'd even put Troy and Baton Rouge. Then, we used to make fun of this when I was doing it. Off topic a little bit, but where do we think like men's basketball ranks on Baton Rouge's campus right now? Right, football is always going to be number 1. Baseball is number 2. Women's basketball is number 3. They sell out gymnastics. That's number 4. So you're lucky if you're number 5 as the men's basketball team. That's a different story and a different podcast. We'll let Mess go and worry about that. Nonetheless, the Troy Trojans should be getting some play, and they won't, not at a 107 net ranking for the NCAA tournament. The only way that right now, as of right now, they're going to get in there is winning the Sun Belt, and it's a 1-bid league. And I'm not sure what anybody can do about it. You try to schedule more, but they don't want to schedule. Certainly not a team that just went to the NCAA tournament. You know, basketball schedules are done some are years in advance, but a lot of times it's done just 1 year in advance. So we'll see what happens. Troy does get ODU to begin the week, but they're a very good team because I think Arkansas State's good, and that game wasn't particularly close. Certainly not once the second half got underway. All right. Troy is very, very good, and they sort of destroyed Arkansas State. All right. Maybe Arkansas State didn't have their legs after the South Alabama game, but South Alabama ball game, but that's a little bit of an excuse. A little bit. All right. All right. We'll do as much as we can in the next segment. Cajuns surprise South Alabama by hitting those 3 balls. We'll talk to you about it right after I tell you about FanDuel. The College Football Championship is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get on the action every single game of the playoffs. Because right now, every college football playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it. You get to use the profit boost on the bets you already feel good about. You want to ride with those Indiana Hoosiers? They're the big favorite when you think they control the matchup. Or take a shot on the home underdog Miami Hurricanes if you feel an upset is coming. Or build a parlay around the players and moments you think decide the game. Then you apply the profit boost and go after even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get in on all of the action for the championship game. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every game day. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt. Your teams every day. Did South Alabama have a little bit of a letdown after Arkansas, after they took and stole a ball game away from Arkansas State? I think when I mentioned it, now I'm not going to sit here and tell you I thought South Alabama was going to lose. I didn't. Did I think it could be a little bit tougher? Sure. I didn't think they were going to lose. The Cajuns are not a good basketball team. The Cajuns can play defense, all right? They certainly can't shoot like they did, and they have no inside game. Although they did go 6 for 13 from 2 All right, honestly, which is not too bad. I think that's what the stats were. But the Cajuns win this ball game against South Alabama, 59-56, and I believe they set a record for 3-pointers with 15. Set a school record for 3-pointers with 15. South Alabama lost this game. I'm going to go at a little bit end of the game tactically, but South Alabama lost this game when the Cajuns are hitting 15 out of 42 from three-point land. Total 21 of 55. All right, so if we can do the math again, 6 out of 13 from 2. They only shot 4 free throws and made 2 of them. That's kind of where South Alabama lost the ball game. 3 of 10 from the free throw line. Randy Brady, a surprising 1 for 4. Chaz Harris, 0 for 2. Stephen Williams and J.J. Wheat, 1 for 2 each. All right, so when the game comes down to the end and it's tied at 56 because you went 3 of 10 from the free throw line, that's where you ended up losing the ball game. And that the Cajuns made 15 3-pointers, right? South Alabama wants you to shoot them. They allow the most 3-point attempts in the country, and I probably have allowed the most 3-pointers in the country. They didn't shoot the lights out. 15 of 42 is 36%. So that's good. And it wasn't like they shot 40 or 45%. All right. You do have Jackson Olvera, who I believe made 2 3-pointers at the end. He gave them the lead before South Alabama tied it up and then finished it off with a game winner. Let me see if that was the case here. Olvera hit the game winner. I do know that. Let me see if he hit the go-ahead shot. South Alabama actually takes a 54-53 lead. Olvera makes a 30-footer. How do you defend that? And then makes a 27-footer. Well, we're going to tell you how to defend it here in a second. So Olvera makes 2 big 3-pointers, including the game winner. When on the road, you could easily fold. They were leading most of the ball game, and all of a sudden the Jaguars take the lead with a minute left to go, and they managed. Although I think they did miss and got an offensive rebound to get that second or that first Olvera 3-pointer. Let's see the other guys who scored some points. Let's see. Olvera had 14 points. Miha had 13, and Laverne had 12. For South Alabama, Chaz Harris, after what he had, 38 points in overtime against Arkansas State, 18 against South Alabama, kind of held them in check. Jaden Cooper, 11 points. Adam Olson was held. They did a really good job on him. 9 points, only 3 of 10 total, and 3 of 8 from the floor or from 3-point land. Did grab 9 rebounds, though. And off the bench, J.J. Wheat led the way with 6 points. But as Pat Greenwood said towards the end of the ball game, the Cajuns only had, or South Alabama had 4 fouls called on them, and the Cajuns only had 3. So I'm not sure what he was thinking about, if it was, if you have to foul to put them on the free throw line, or what I was thinking, after Chaz Harris makes his shot, you can foul a couple of times. You can foul as soon as they get over half court. And so that would have been with about 7 seconds. And then you inbounds the ball and foul them again. And so then they would have 3 or 4 seconds to get a shot off. Maybe they make it, but then it's a little bit different. You're doing a sideline play or maybe under the basket play, wherever it may be, instead of in the flow of the offense. But, congratulations, hat tip to the Cajuns. That's a big-time win. I did not see that one coming, all right? I did think it would be closer, mostly because South Alabama plays they both play good defense, and if your offense isn't flowing like South Alabama's has, then you can get caught in that kind of situation. And the Cajuns hit a school record 15 3-pointers. Usually when you hit a school record 15 3-pointers, you win by, 15 or 20. It's usually not a 3-point ball game coming down to the last minute, but that's what happened. So congratulations to the Cajuns getting their 5th win of the season. Elsewhere, Georgia Southern has had a little bit of a letdown. They fall to Coastal Carolina 79-75. So they have not played particularly well as of late, right? They lost to South Alabama. That snapped their 9-game winning streak. They slipped past Old Dominion, 87-84, and then lost to Coastal Carolina, 79-75 in overtime. Should mention that. It was in overtime. And again, had tipped to Coastal Carolina. That's a nice win on the road for sure. They did a good job. Neither team shot it well. Coastal Carolina, 38%. Georgia Southern, 36%. How about Coastal Carolina at the free throw line? She's 31 out of 38. Georgia Southern, 16 out of 28. Surprisingly, all right, the fouls were about even. 22 called on Georgia Southern, 21 called on Coastal Carolina. But obviously the difference in the ball game is making 15 more free throws, attempting 10 of them. Also, they shot 82%, whereas Georgia Southern shot 57% from the floor. So that's an impressive win for Coastal Carolina. They even up their record at 4-4. Georgia Southern had started out 5-0. They should be 5-3. It's listed here 5-2, but they should be 5-3. All right. And let's see if we can get one more in. Marshall, I could switch hats, I guess. Marshall with a nice win over JMU, 77-72. All right. Close ball game throughout. Let's see here. Largest lead for Marshall was at the end, 5-point lead. And the largest lead for JMU was they were up 60-50 in the second half. Ouch. That's a tough loss for JMU. All right. Spear with 22 points for Marshall. Achuni had 17 and Fricks with 13. They were, there you go, 23 out of 28 from the free throw line, 82%. Not sure what would have made a difference. JMU, 13 out of 20 from the free throw line, so they missed a few more, making 65%. Davis led the way for JMU, 20 points. Bradley Douglas off the bench with 15. All right. All right, let's take, do we have enough in there? Yeah, that's good enough. We will take a timeout. And can Georgia Southern make a run? I'm sorry. Can Georgia State make a run? Check that. Reverse it. Here comes Georgia State. All of a sudden, they're playing some pretty good basketball and may be able to get a pretty good seed in that Sun Belt Conference tournament. We'll talk about it next, right after I tell you about TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever just to hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver and gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax doesn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. I just started doing my taxes myself. We'll see if we take them up on that. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. How about these Georgia State Panthers, right? Once upon a time with Ron Hunter, and maybe more important, Ron Hunter Jr., they ruled the roost in the Sunbelt, winning multiple championships before Ron, winning an NCAA game in the NCAA tournament before Ron took the Tulane job. Hasn't quite had the success at Tulane. Nonetheless, Georgia State has fallen on hard times without a doubt. They have not been particularly good over the last few years whatsoever. It just has not been pretty on a program that is supposed to contend for the Sun Belt Championship, and that's not the way that it is. All right, even coming into or finishing Saturday's game, they're 7-12 and 4-3. All right, but if we go over the schedule, last year they were 14-19, 8-10 in the conference. All right, 23-24. They were 14-17, 8-10 in the conference. All right, we're looking at some consistency, anyways. They were 10-21 in the 2022-2023 season, 3-15 in the conference. So it has been a little bit of a slog for the Georgia State Panthers. But all of a sudden, we may have found something. All right, they lost to Georgia Southern 90-67. And they fell to 2-10 and 0-1 in the Sun Belt. They are, since that time, 5-2 overall and 4-2 in the Sun Belt. They beat App State 70-63. They blew out Columbia College 110-72. They lost at Marshall 84-80 in a ball game they could have won. They hammered Coastal Carolina in the second half 89-72. Lost a close ball game to App State, 52-50. They beat Marshall, 81-73. And then now they've taken care of Monroe, 77-57. As you can imagine, that is not that difficult, although it was. ULM was leading 39-38 at the half. Georgia State's defense comes through and holds ULM to 18 points in the second half, while they scored 38 in the first half. The Panthers scored 39 in the second half. All right. Overall, ULM shot 34% in the game, 8 out of 26 from 3. Georgia State makes 16 3-pointers out of 38, 42%. Both teams were 7-10 from the free throw line. Rebounds were about even. Georgia State 20 assists to ULM 11. All right. That means they're passing the ball around. Turnovers 11-9. Not that big a difference in a 20-point ball game. ULM actually had more points in the paint, but as we mentioned, Georgia State with 16 3-pointers. So now Georgia State is sitting 1, 2, 3, 4, tied for 7th. Did I get that right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. They're actually tied for 4th. They are tied for 4th. Right there. All right. And we're going to find out. Let's see. We usually look at these schedules and see what they get. They got a couple of tough ball games at home. They got Southern Miss at home, who did lose to Texas State. And they get Arkansas State at home, who's reeling a little bit. So they're getting 2 ball games at home. Can you beat Southern Miss? And how do you compete against Arkansas State? And all of a sudden, you can find yourself in the top 4. All right. So going over the standings now, Troy leads the way, 6-1 in conference. I believe Georgia Southern should be 4-3, actually. I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, they beat Old Dominion. I'm sorry. Georgia Southern beat Old Dominion. So they are 5-2. Okay, so they are 5-2. Southern Miss is 5-3. South Alabama is 4-3. Arkansas State is 4-3. Marshall 4-3, and Georgia State is 4-3. So they are right there. They are tied for 4th, and you beat Southern Miss, you'll be tied with them, and you beat Arkansas State, and you'll be ahead of them. Now, I mean, they're right there. It is there for the taking. All right, for Georgia State, we don't worry too much about what the 7-12 record says. They care much more about what that 4-3 record says. And all of a sudden, Georgia State is not the pushover that they've been for the last couple of years. And that could make it very exciting, especially in Pensacola, if that's the case, right? It could be very exciting down there in Pensacola when it does appear that there are a handful of teams. Troy looks to be the premier team. I don't think that's a surprise. Georgia Southern's pretty good. Arkansas State's pretty good. South Alabama is pretty good. Where does Southern Miss fit into that? And all of a sudden, could Georgia State be a thorn in someone's side? Remember, think the top 2 teams still get all the way to the semis. Isn't that right? We got to check out that Sunbelt bracket again. Sunbelt bracket. A couple of years ago, they let's do 6 basketball. They tried to get it for everybody to play as many games as possible, but yeah, the number 1 and number 2 seeds don't play until Sunday. Don't play until Sunday. The tournament starts on Tuesday. So the number 1 and the number 2 seed get all the way to the semifinals. The 3 and 4 seed play in the quarterfinals. So that's a big deal too. So even if you get to the quarters, you only have to win 3 ball games. And everybody else usually in the conference tournament has to win like 4 or 5. It's a little bit easier, I guess. And Sunbelt does have everybody in the tournament. So again, they try to, this is the idea behind it. They try to get the best team in there. They're not looking for upsets. As much as the fans like upsets, the Sunbelt wants their best team to go in case JMU or Georgia State pull off an upset in the NCAA tournament. And that is a big deal. Remember, by the way, just throwing this out there, the chairman of the NCAA basketball tournament, I believe, is one Keith Gill. All right. He's going to be the one talking to the guys on CBS about who got in and who did not and why not. It's going to be our own little Keith Gill. He's going to be front and center on the NCAA tournament. All right. Maybe we can get a better seed, for the Troy Trojans. Because as we went over, some of those other teams aren't very good. They're playing tougher teams, admittedly, right? Troy's only got 2 quad 1 games, but these teams aren't winning the quad 1 ball games. All right. So you can play them, but somewhere along the way, you think you'd have to win some to mean you deserve to be there. Whereas, I don't know about Auburn, but I would take Troy over LSU on a neutral court. Maybe even take them in Baton Rouge. I don't think LSU is all that good. All right. They had a huge lead against Kentucky, lost on a last-second shot. LSU is not a very good basketball team, and their coach is on the way out. So, unless he gets to the tournament, as the case may be. All right. Got the day off on Monday. Didn't follow up on Friday. I will follow up on Friday with all of the coaches. We'll see. Maybe we can record some on Monday. First, getting up, working out twice. And so I can hit that up first thing Monday morning. I'm off later in the week, either Wednesday or Thursday. I think Thursday. So maybe we do it then. And then I think I'm off next Monday again. So we will get these in. We want to start playing them, not this week, but next week, so we can play all of the coaches. If we have to, we have some bonus episodes as well on Saturday and Sunday. So we can at least get some basketball in somewhere. But hopefully we have these things ready to go. We do have one slated, one scheduled. We haven't interviewed them yet. All right. That'll be, I think that's on the 21st. So that's Wednesday. So I'm off on Wednesday. Yeah. So I have one or on Thursday. I think I'm off on Thursday. We better get that day right. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. All right. We didn't get quite the goal that I was hoping for this past week, but we're up towards 2,880. Still, we're trying to get to 3,000. We got to pick it up a little bit. We need to get to 3,000 by the first pitch of baseball, and that will be a week from this past Friday. So we need to pick it up. Please spread the word. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also, by the way, don't forget about the Everyday Club. I think I may not be putting this into the I don't think I'm putting the links in. I thought it was there, but maybe it is. Thank you for making Locked On Sunbelt your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live Sunbelt every day, so now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Sunbelt with no interruptions, members only, for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonsunbelt.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. I will make sure that the link is in there if you'd like to join. Basically, you get the podcast ad-free for a grand total of $5 a month. That's not a bad deal. In fact, it's a pretty good deal, and I'd say that. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will obviously be watching as much as we can because the game will start late, the national championship, and we'll see if former JMU coach Curt Cignetti can pull off what would be the greatest run. We may not be in college football history. We may be in sports history. All right. It would be incredible if they pulled this off. All right. Everybody enjoy the football. Have a great week. Go Pats. That's a big win. Nice win heading out to Denver to play the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. Did not see that one coming. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a great Monday, everybody. We'll talk to you again on Tuesday.